Hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 468 for September 21st, 2022. My name is Russell Frost. I think it's Russell Frost. It was when I started the show, although I'm heavily right now confused, but I'm going to try and work through it. And I have the good fortune to be the host. Look at this amazing panel. Let me introduce them, and we will continue our journey into advanced tech, mobility, and sustainable energy. And we will decipher what NAIAS actually means because Mark Coughlin was there and he brought back photos.
Is it one of those acronyms where they got rid of the meaning and it still means something, but they say it doesn't?
NIAS? You'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know what it used to mean, but you know, the CES doesn't mean Consumer Electronics Show anymore. It's just CES.
It is, yeah, which really... It's less than it used to be. Yes, it is.
It's like KFC.
My co-host and good friend, Georgia McKenzie.
Welcome. It was 100 and some degrees last week, and it's 75 now.
It was 85 here.
California, ladies and gentlemen. We've also been under a deluge of rain. Yep. For 2 days, 3 days,
and then it goes back into the 90s.
Yeah, it'll be 90 next week, and we'll be back in a drought because you know what we like? Schizophrenia. We like schizophrenia in our weather.
Is everything not on fire though?
Thankfully, especially with all the rain, no fires yet.
No fires yet. Yeah, although it's only Wednesday, and you know things could still burn.
Russell. Let's go with what we've got.
Hello to everybody in the chat room. June and Derek and Bruce and Kacey Green. Who's that Kacey Green? Oh, speaking of Kacey Green, my friend in the Mid-Atlantic region, Mr. Kacey Green.
Finally was able to edit another video and put it somewhere, but I didn't put it on YouTube because it was for a product and it didn't work the way I wanted it to. So I didn't put it on YouTube. But it had been so long since I edited the video that they moved all my buttons. I mean, it's easier now, but nothing was where I expected it to be. The only thing that worked was the hotkey commands. They were still there.
An Adobe product? Yeah. Up next, my friend in Boulder, Colorado. He is the owner and founder of Boulder Hybrids, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hello. And it's also raining in Boulder tonight. So
wow.
Welcome to rain.
I was going to say that's good news.
Yeah.
And last and certainly not least, he is the host of the Tesla Life and one of the founders of Riva, spelled with a W. And he is our senior editor, reporter. I don't know. He's some kind of very official title, but he is our Detroit Auto Show correspondent this week, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Got a bunch of news we're going to get to from the Detroit Auto Show. First, the question was, what does the acronym stand for? Apparently, it stands for North American International Auto Show, is what it stands for. And I know it's international. I know it's international because it was in Detroit, and I came from Canada, so that made it international as soon as I crossed that border.
I still love the idea that it's the North American International.
Across the street from Canada.
It's across the street from Windsor. Exactly.
He had to go north to get to Detroit. He got it.
Kind of northwest to get into Detroit. Yeah, exactly.
When you look at the map, you don't ever think I'm going to go north. I'm going to go north to America from Canada, except Alaska.
Depends on where you are.
The case.
It does.
So a week ago today, last Wednesday, I and Ken Bocour of the EV Revolution Show decided to travel down to Detroit together, and takes about 3 hours from my location, maybe 2.5 hours to get there. And we crossed the tunnel and popped right out at the GM Renaissance Center. There's Ken and I standing at the booth. The first one we came to, which was one of those VTOG vehicles, the ones that you never want to test. You just want to make sure they work first. You don't want to be the test guinea pig in those vehicles.
That's not how you got to Detroit.
That's not how I got there. Yeah. So we showed up early, went through the security, got into the hall, and this was the first thing we were greeted with, and then we started to see the cars. So let's go to the next slide.
Dun,
And
dun, dun.
we'll flip the slide here.
Did I? Oh, sorry. It's coming. It's coming. I have to go
Here it
back and
comes.
select the tab each time.
Here it comes.
So just share the whole
There
window
it is.
application instead.
Boom.
Boom.
This, of course, is the first one we ran into, which is the Buick Wildcat, which, of course, is not a production vehicle. This is, as you can probably tell by the oversized wheels and huge curves on this vehicle, it's a concept. But it was at least a realistic concept. Paul knows all about concepts and how they can be wildly unbelievable. And there was a few of them at this show, trust me. But at least the Buick gave us some realistic look at what a super sedan could be. So again, nothing specific here about how this would get into production, because it won't. But there were, curves and lines that engineers love to rave about, and hopefully some of this will come to the Buick lineup. But right now, Buick has no electric cars, which this is reportedly to be. But at this point, it's strictly just a concept.
So when that one hit the screen, I got excited, and then my heart fell, because the last time I saw that particular stage in person, the Cadillac Converge was sitting on top of it. Turned out to be the Cadillac ELR.
We all know that became a production vehicle as well, right?
It did, but it did not match the concept at all.
They sold 12 of them.
I think it was 54, but yes, very low numbers.
So Mark, are you saying that car was like metal and plastic instead of styrofoam?
Oh, it could have been anything, Paul. They kept us well away from it. The lights were on it. It was nice and shiny and sparkly. I'll give it that. But what it could have been made of, nobody knows, because we weren't allowed to get near it.
Wow.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch the car. So next, we'll take a next look at
Next slide, Russell. Oh, this is going to be an evil slideshow. Okay. I'm just going to tell you right now, it is going to be an evil slide. I can't do it with an app. So let's see.
You can do share application or share window instead of the tab.
Only if I have permissions set up correctly.
You didn't do that yet. Sorry, never mind.
That's okay.
This is
Mac Security got me one time too.
This is an interview that Ken got with Steve Major Os.
Majoros or something, yeah.
Yeah, Steve's been a staple at Chevy for a while. I've seen him at previous auto shows, and he was discussing with Ken the Equinox, which is in the background, and we'll get to another couple of photos of that a little bit closer. But the big thing about the Equinox, of course, is that it is going to be at a starting price. Get this. $30,000 US with a 250-mile range for the base version.
Nice.
So this is Chevy's push at mass adoption, and of course this will also apply, or will the incentive of the $7,500 federal incentive will be applied to this vehicle. We believe Chevy wasn't, exactly, I guess, willing to give us that definitely that would happen, but they certainly were pushing at the battery being made, and of course where it's being put together is going to be Mexico, and the battery composition, they believe they're going to get the 7,500 on this vehicle. So that would be a vehicle then that would be 22.5 with the incentive. So that is going to make it very attainable for many people to drop a gas vehicle in favor of this. And this Equinox is of similar size and nature to the current gasoline Equinox. It's a little shorter. It's a little wider stance. There's a little bit more room between the wheel wells than the gasoline version. But if you've ever been around an Equinox, the inside is very similar, although there's a little bit extra room, I would say. It also comes with larger wheels. This is an LT version as well. This is not an RS or an SS. It's an LT. So it's nicely equipped for the different stages. They have a 1 LT, a 2 LT, and a 3 LT. But the base model, again, 30,250 miles. And it comes nicely equipped for that price.
Let's hope they can pull it off, because there was another company that had a $30,000 that never really.
Well, they
up.
sold it for like 10 months.
Yeah,
You
it was
had to order it off-
available, but
you
it
had to order it
wasn't
off menu.
30. It wasn't 30, Paul. It was 35. But
That's
okay.
I want to apologize for my friends.
You had ordered off menu, and you might have qualified for tax credit, but then it was gone.
Now GM was speaking about, of course, their Ultium
Ultium, yeah.
platform, which of course they are backing up with LG batteries that are being made right now at a single battery plant, soon to become 3. So there's 2 others under construction, and the first one is actually completing construction, and they're starting to produce batteries.
Nice.
Or starting their initial ramp up of those battery packs, which will go in vehicles like this. This is the Silverado, the 2024 all electric pickup truck that has been built from scratch. Unlike the Ford F-150, this vehicle is not like its gasoline cousin at all. It's been built from the ground floor up to be an EV. Therefore, it should have a number of efficiencies that the F-150 doesn't have, because they've been able to place things strategically for the battery pack, get them in the proper area, increase room in a cabin. It's got the mid-gate option, which allows the back to fold down to give you up to 10 feet of bed space if you wish to use it, because it can expand into the back row of the truck. It is a crew cab configuration.
Nice.
So very, again, the paint on all these vehicles that are at the show, just incredible. Like, obviously it's not a factory paint. Like, this is multiple coats to make these things really sparkle on the show floor.
And the lighting too.
And the lighting's perfect. So
Yeah.
these things are just like jewels on the floor, and they really stand out with the colors that they've selected to display at their booths. And that goes for all the manufacturers.
I'm surprised LG kept that contract after the event.
Obviously, it meant a lot to them, dollar and cents wise, in both ways. So,
also with the Ford, they have an advantage over when they try to do it with gas cars to EVs, is that the trucks are body on frame, so it's like half a ground up EV, and then they slap the gas body on top.
well, they were doing it speed wise, right? Like that's the reason Ford did it, was to get it out the door and start taking orders and say, oh look, we're EV.
We were the first American truck on the market.
Ready to go. Exactly. But I have heard from Ford themselves that in the background they're completely redesigning the F-150 from the ground up. So the version that people are buying now and next year, it will be discontinued because they're switching to a ground up build for that vehicle, because of the same reasons that Chevy came across, is that you lose a lot of efficiencies if you're just going from a straight gasoline version into an EV.
Exactly.
Next, Russell, pick one. Let's go with it.
Lightning round.
Did Russell freeze?
I think he's frozen.
I hear him clicking.
Oh no, he is frozen. At least for us.
I'm frozen.
Nope. Now you're back.
Now you're back.
Yeah.
So this thing, I went past their factory and it was empty because it was a Foxconn factory now.
So this is the famous Lordstown Endurance pickup, 4-door crew cab that was tucked in the back it wasn't in a Lordstown booth. It was tucked in with a bunch of other vehicles, and we were surprised to see it. It's unique, so it caught our eye. We went over to check it out, but the doors were locked, the windows were dark, and it was tough to see on the inside. But I can assure you that this one was not made of plasticine. It actually was made of material that could drive the vehicle. So we went around and flipped the logo on the front is where the charge door is. So that flipped open to reveal a CCS plug, adapter plug. And around back, we have a photo, I believe, of the back of it, which has just the regular tailgate. Nothing is automated in this vehicle because it's designed for the workhorse. It's designed for people that are going to use as contractors and such, people that would lease vehicles. So it looked good. It looks like it's got functionality. I would have loved to get on the inside to see what it looked like on the inside, but again, it was locked. But it was good to see it. We've heard so little of the I guess March of Lordstown and what's going to happen to this vehicle if it is actually going to come out at some point. But it was interesting to see that it was at the Detroit Auto Show.
At least it wasn't on fire.
It was not on fire.
A lot of the workhorses catch fire. So the next question is, when Chevy goes to the next body style, will they have to upgrade their truck to get the new gliders, or will they just have like a glut of like used, or not used, but like old this style glider, or how's that going to work? Assuming they're in business at all to make the truck.
I think that I think there may be just two types of gliders. There may be a gasoline glider, and then
I mean, like, because we saw the new Silverado EV. Like, what if the gas one goes to that style instead of this style?
Oh, I don't think the gas version could go to the new style.
Okay.
I think there will be issues with the tunnel and things of that nature, the transmission tunnel and things like that you just can't transition to the new style.
It'd just be headlights and grill, and then these guys don't care because they already got rid of that.
Here comes your next slide, Mark. Let's see.
Russell, I thought of Russell when I saw this vehicle.
No, you didn't. No, yes, you didn't.
I did.
Do not.
Ring, ring, ring.
This, of course, is the concept, the Dodge Charger Daytona SRT. And of course, this was the famous one that we spoke about a couple of episodes ago, about having a audio system that would allow the exhaust to flow out of speaker systems on the outside of the car.
To roll call.
Exactly. So they had it on display on a turntable. Again, couldn't get near it. You could only hang around on the outside, just to be obviously a concept. And of course, all sorts of interesting red lights and such on the inside. You can see one of the doors was open.
Was it growling?
Where you could see on the inside. Although I did like the back of the car because it had that unique neon outline of the brake lights, and they did it really nicely in this particular car. There you go. It actually gave it a 3D effect through glass. It kind of looked cool that it's got that kind of 3D look at it. So I was impressed.
From Lexus.
So did they like every now and then just like make the awful noises like an arcade, just like
no?
It made a missed opportunity.
It made no noise to us at all. So
I was missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity.
Like every 15 minutes, it should just growl for like 5 seconds and then go back to sleep.
Yeah, maybe that will happen during the public show, but for our stay. Cool. For our stay, it did not make any noise as it quietly turned around on the turntable.
Hey, Stellantis, free idea. Take it.
There you go. Run with it.
Oddly enough, I agree with Kacey on this one. I should just make a random farting noise just to get it to people's attention. You know?
Oh my God.
Maybe, you know what? There should be a little dispenser on the top too, where like men my age can walk up and hit a button and get a free Viagra just for being near the car. Here
Now,
you
I
go.
was hoping that with the audio system, why would they not maybe pipe in some nitrous oxide or something to blow out the back, just for old sake, for the for the poisonous fumes that would normally come out of it, but instead maybe some laughing gas or something a little extra that would
A little
Are you
fog,
designing for the
mood.
Joker?
dry
Yeah.
ice or mist or something. Yeah.
I got nothing.
The car is vaping. Yes, indeed.
This thing.
Ah, yes, the Subaru.
It's the BZ4. Oh, I'm sorry.
It is. It basically
pretty nice.
It
is,
is
right?
a BZ.
The Solterra is basically the BZ. A little interesting story. We went to the Toyota booth before we went to the Subaru booth.
Was it
And
there?
Toyota did not have any BZs on display.
The wheels
None.
fell off.
And it was like, yeah, the wheels fell off. So, yeah, they had a hard time pushing it onto the show floor. But they wanted to talk about their electrification plan, which includes hybrids and has for quite some time. So it
Hybrids
was
don't count. Unless
it
they
was
have a
kind of
plug.
interesting that they did not have their newest and only electric vehicle on the floor. And then we walked a couple booths down, and Subaru had theirs. So we had a discussion with them about their vehicle. We got to sit in this one, and we got to check out the storage space. And of course, this is going to be basically the same as the Toyota. I have to say that the seating position was kind of nice. It's got that little bit of a higher vehicle feel. So you're sitting a little higher in it, like that small, very small SUV type thing where you're not as low, and people really enjoy that. And Subaru didn't have a great amount of information about the vehicle because they're not used to it either. But we had a good time talking about the stats with the person that was displaying it to us. Ken got an interview with her. You could tell that it was probably her first time being interviewed on this vehicle, but it was kind of interesting to hear the responses. But again, I do have to commend Subaru from going in with Toyota on a build, at least to get them started in the EV world. I know that the firsts are not always the best, but you have to take that first step so that you can get to a second step. So I commend them trying and starting to work their way down the EV road.
I still think that the Solterra looks just a little bit better than the BZ.
Which really isn't saying a lot.
This is true.
I mean,
Very true.
not to like beat a dead horse, but it is kind of a dead horse. And yeah, I'm sorry.
So June brings up a good question. When are they going to fix the wheel problem? And they've been building cars for 100 years. How is it hard to keep the wheels on?
That is an excellent question, and no one had an answer for that.
Did they
because
torque the lug nuts,
because it was such a ludicrous thing that there was a problem with the wheels. Like no one could think of that. Like
I mean, even if it's an excuse, you should come up with an excuse that people will believe. Like you've been making cars since the 1900s, and you can't keep the wheels on them. Seriously.
Well, I don't know.
And it's taken you more than 3 months to fix it.
But we weren't there- we
I
weren't
mean,
there
I
to
understand
show-
you have a bad
know,
part.
We weren't there to shove people's nose in it. We were there to see the vehicles and
Not
talk
shove
to
their
them
nose
about,
in it, but
about electrification. So
they should have an answer to that basic question.
No,
Like,
they
yeah, we think it'll be ready in a month or two.
I'm not defending them because they're losers when it comes to this. Okay. Toyota's eating it. They served themselves a big bowl of steaming poo, and now they're enjoying it.
They could have
But-
literally lied and said, "Oh, our batteries aren't ready yet. They haven't. We're waiting on the ship." Instead, they said the wheels fall off, which may be true, and it was really sad that they haven't fixed it in months.
Well, and what does Toyota make, like 22 million cars a year or something ridiculous?
Right? Like no other cars'
And-
wheels
and, like,
fall off, or
They
are
should
you
know how
hiding
to
those
screw
too?
the wheels on? You know?
Right.
I
Oh, so as somebody mechanically inclined, being your business and all, Paul, what could you speculate on what that is?
It's just an excuse for something else.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too.
I mean,
it's a metallurgy issue.
Metallurgy.
one thing I do want to comment.
But metallurgy is better. Come on.
Almost every single car Mark has shown us has these stupid low-profile tires with big
Yeah.
wheels.
Ha!
And I tell you, and then coupled with cars that have no spare tires, You hit a pothole with low profile tire goes boom. You are dead in the water. It's a oddball size. It's got to be specially ordered. You got to tow
$600.
You got to tow your car. The tires are more expensive. Yes, they look cool, but honestly, folks, buy a car with a normal aspect ratio tire, and you will be much happier. You won't be the cool kid, but you won't be stranded.
And
If
you
it's
probably
if-
were never the cool kid anyways.
And they're more expensive. They blow out when you hit potholes, and every city has potholes now because they have no
Yep.
money to fix the roads.
Yep.
It's a
And-
stupid trend.
And if the vehicle in question is a truck or SUV, you can also probably tow more on the normal size tires instead of the rubber bands.
Right. And you have a better ride.
Yeah.
You have more cushion. So
And your gas mileage is better, or electricity, or whatever. Your fuel mileage is better. Whatever your
Yeah,
fuel
but
happens.
doesn't look as cool, dude. Come on.
This is true. This is true.
No, I hate
Some
it.
gloss on there.
I'm fine with tires. You know what? It's a car. Tires can look like tires. They don't have to look like a rubber band on a Lego wheel.
So on a typical tire, there's 3 numbers, right? Like 195, 65, 15. The middle number is the aspect ratio. If the middle number is below 55, it's going to be a low profile tire, and it's not a good thing. So try and buy a car that has tires with a decent aspect ratio.
Mine are now. I'm gonna look it up.
Unless you're rich and you don't give a shit.
Yeah, and you can have the tow truck come and get you in the middle of nowhere and take you to a tire store that just happens to have that oddball tire in stock.
No big deal.
Or in my case, 2 different oddball tires for each axle.
Have one flown in on your private jet. Well, let's go to the next vehicle. I think Mark's going to know what this is.
This is a
I
big
hope he knows.
ass skateboard. Let me
Hummer.
tell you, this is the Hummer skateboard that underpins both the existing Hummer vehicles, electric vehicles, the pickup, and the massive SUV that they're now selling as well. And it was just a point of interest during the show. It was announced that Hummer has reached 90,000 sales of both of these vehicles combined.
Wow.
So that is a lot of sales for a vehicle
orders or
that retails at $100+ grand a piece.
It's got to be orders,
Yeah,
right?
they
It's
haven't
not.
shipped
They haven't sold.
No, they haven't sold it. They'd be orders, yes.
Okay.
But at the show, they were telling people that the pickup is sold out at this time. So their pre-orders is going to chew up their production for that vehicle for 2023. So they're not even accepting orders on the pickup anymore, but they have moved orders over to the SUV, which we have a photo of. There's the pickup itself. And again, I just can't get over how large this vehicle is in person. It is 9,000 pounds.
Wow.
It is the biggest beast I've ever stood next to. Actually scared that it might collapse the floor I'm standing on. Like this thing is massive. And the new SUV, just as big. Maybe even appears a little bit bigger because the top appears higher because there's no lower part of the bed. It's a massive vehicle. Kind of interesting on the inside. We got a photo of that. Big screens, of course. Triple windshield wipers. Never seen a vehicle with 3 windshield wipers across the front.
FJ Cruiser.
Okay.
Well, I would have lost that trivia contest.
Huge amount. Like the screens were massive. Everything was massive in the vehicle. It was just really large.
It's to compensate for the buyers.
Maybe.
Oh!
Like you can even see the shifter is massive down in the bottom left of the picture. There's a huge shifter. It's all oversized. Absolutely, everything is oversized in this vehicle, and your garage would have to be crazy large to fit.
It doesn't
this
go
thing
in the
inside
garage.
of it. Like there's just no way this fits in a normal house. It would it'd be overhanging your driveway onto the sidewalk. Definitely, this is a massive vehicle.
Mark, I gotta ask, in the interior, do you feel like it's $100,000 plus vehicle, or, and forgive me, is it a plastic Chevy?
There were nice touches to the interior. I wouldn't say it was $100,000, but it wasn't a plastic Echo box. Like,
because
not.
Yeah, I've driven more than a few cheap Chevys. Like, ooh.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was that cheap.
That's good.
But it wasn't covered in gold either. So it's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough to gauge, Russell, what $100,000 vehicle is. But compared this to something like a Lexus, a higher end Lexus.
Sure.
Like
100,000 base.
Yeah,
not optioned up. Base.
This wouldn't compare with it. Like you'd be missing the mark, I would say, somewhat. This is but for pounds per square inch, you definitely win.
So I've heard that it tows really well. Like the experience is all right. Aside from the people whining that they couldn't then refill it up in 20 minutes and then keep back on the road. And then MKBHD also complained that you have to pick who you're going to screw over when you park, as far as being able to get out of their car, because it takes the whole space.
Yeah. It'll cover the lines, no problem.
I mean, the scary thing is, what if one of these things hits someone driving a Honda Civic or an Aptera or something?
Aptera might be okay, but the Civic will get squished like a monster truck.
Might be okay. Does it have a force field?
I would not want to take that might be bet.
Well, I mean, don't hit it head on, but I mean, like,
don't hit it at all. Well, this is the kinetic energy involved in a 9,000-pound vehicle moving at speed is really going to outweigh.
It's a freight train.
I suspect it would look like the S-Class versus the Smart Car demo that Mercedes did a few years back, versus the Civic, which would be smushed.
Yeah, I got nothing. Well, how about this picture, Mark?
Oh,
yes. Joe Biden decided to swing by the auto show while we were there. We were asked to leave the hall about an hour into us visiting because only certain media was allowed in the hall when Joe was there.
Wow.
So we
were about to ask you, like when Rihanna showed up, they kicked us out.
We caught Joe this picture from a window that we were looking in and watching for the media lights and microphone booms that were moving across the room. We could tell where Joe was. And a gentleman beside me from the UK had this impressive camera, and he was getting these shots off. And I said, "Hey, could you send us an email of a couple of the good shots you get?" And he offered this one and said that was very nice of him. But and then, of course, Joe got behind the wheel with his favorite Secret Service agent and traversed the aisles of the Detroit Auto Show in his Cadillac Lyric.
Talk about perks, huh?
Right? The Lyric looks sharp.
So Joe enjoyed himself. I saw a few clips of this on video the night after, and had a few jokes for the press following him in his low-speed run down the purple blue aisleway. Yes.
Wow.
He should have stomped on it and just
right? Like, how many people can I kill at this show? Like, President goes rogue for real.
Wrong president.
He seemed to be enjoying himself.
And he didn't go beep, 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 beep. He actually drove the car.
He actually drove the car.
Some of that dark Brandon energy loose. There you go. Well, I think, Mark, this might be the last image that we haven't seen.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
The Ford booth, of course, had the Mach-E and the Ford Lightning, and this was a little test track that Ford had set up. So they wanted to showcase the impressive speed of the Lightning, and they allowed people to get into the vehicle, and they took it for a quick run, an acceleration. So you would hear an acceleration skid every minute and a half throughout the show, because of course they had about 3 of these vehicles on a constant loop. as they were loading people in and out of them. In this same setup, they also had a hill climbing that was used for the Bronco, not for the F-150 Lightning. But this track was a dual-purpose track. So they had both the electric and the gasoline versions out there, shuttling people around and showing them the speed boost for the Lightning.
That is one good thing about EVs. In an indoor convention center, you can do test drives.
Yep, no problem there for the EVs to do that. And so the auto show was very interesting.
Actually, I lied, Mark. I'm sorry. I have
Okay.
one more coming. 2 shots, red Chevy.
The Blazer EV.
Bum, bum.
Yes, indeed. The big brother to the Equinox. And missing some of the components that the Equinox has. You'll notice that the door handles on the Blazer actually stick out, where the Equinox were flush. There were some differences. And of course, the Blazer has been released. It's on an earlier release schedule than the Equinox. So maybe wondering if that is the case. And of course, a Blazer is a little bit more than the Equinox, whereas the Equinox, again, base was 30,000. The Blazer is no $30,000 vehicle. It's a mid-tier vehicle, and I believe in the US you're probably looking at 45 base to begin. So and of course this version that we're looking at here in red was the SS trim, and of course SS is jacked up a lot more than the regular version. But again, this one they allow people to climb over and get into, whereas the Equinox they did not. They did not allow you in or able to touch the interior of the Equinox. You could see it from the open windows, or they have an attendant that would open the door and allow you to look in, but you were not allowed to touch the Equinox even exteriorly anywhere. Whereas the Blazer, this must be much more closer to production because they didn't have any problem with people getting in this vehicle.
Is this one a clean slate, or is it based on the gas version?
It's a clean slate as well. It's
It also
a
can't
lower
tow.
stance. It's lower stance. It's wider wheelbase, similar to the Equinox. They built it for an EV powertrain.
But it can't tow officially.
I don't know about towing. That's
No,
a
I'm
good
telling
question.
you.
Okay.
My dad was looking at
got
one.
low
He's got
profile tires.
And it's got low profile tires. My dad was looking to pull his fishing boat or a kayak or something with it, and they told him no hitch. He's like off the list.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think, Mark, that is everything. But any observations? And
I will say one thing with this show compared to the last one I was at, which was probably 4 years ago now, is that this show, all the manufacturers were not hiding their EVs. They were all out front. In fact, they were spotlighted in some cases. So
except for Toyota.
Well, okay, but they there was definitely that change from 4 years ago. That this was an EV show. A lot of the people here were there to see those. The media paid attention to those EVs. That's what obviously we were there to do, and that's all we paid attention to was the EVs, not even the gasoline versions. We had no real interest, and that was something that was new.
Wow.
Toyota couldn't make it. The wheels kept falling off.
Yeah, I got nothing else. I just feel like piling on. I noticed in the background of one of your pictures there was an Ultium display. Did you learn anything about the Ultium packs or anything like that?
Nothing that we had already not known.
Okay.
It was basically about how they can stack them and pack them in different ways for different vehicles, and it's going to lead to 25 different vehicle types based on the batteries they need. So it was a walkthrough. Then there was a Charge 360, which was talking about their charge network that, of course, they don't have. They're sharing that with anybody else that they can partner up with. And the one thing they are trying to do is the cordless charge, where there's no, you just come up, you plug in, and it'll read the car vehicle, start to charge, hit your GM account, and you don't have to do anything. So they're trying to do what Tesla has already done with all these different third-party charger groups. So that is going to be a difficult thing to do because, of course, when you're trying to herd a number of others, it's always questionable as to whose fault it is when it doesn't work, who they're going to point fingers at. Like all that maintenance, all that kind of stuff is going to be yet to be seen as to how successful this charging network will be in a seamless fashion.
I'm gonna laugh a little bit if Tesla's the first one to get plug-in charge working on the other cars, like everywhere.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you leaving the land of your birth and traveling to the very dangerous United States. There's no sarcasm in that whatsoever, because I have made, as an American citizen, the transition through the Canadian border back into the U.S., and I want to tell you, it's not a friendly experience.
Seen RoboCop.
Yeah.
Detroit. Yeah.
So, no, I appreciate it. Any good gossip? Any random observations? No.
No, I'll just keep the mums on Detroit because I'm out safely.
There you go. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. And our next story is all about a birthday, and I'm going to go to Georgia McKenzie to blow out the candles.
Hey, you know who's turning 50 this month? No, not me. BART. BART is turning 50.
Bart Simpson?
No.
Yes.
Bay Area Rapid Transit.
Go to your room. Bay Area Rapid Transit is turning 50 this month. It has been 50 years of, I have to admit, a pretty darn good public transit system for San Francisco and the rest of the Bay Area. It is 50 freaking years. September 11th, 1972.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
And think about it. We've had it for that long, and sometimes it smells that way. Oh, never mind. I'm allowed. I lived in the Bay Area for a while, and it does. So, but the thing is that they're not stopping just because it's been 50 years, because the Bay Area needs a plan to grow for another 50 or more years. So what are they planning to do? Well, expansion to the South Bay. And let's be honest, people, how long have we been waiting for a smooth ride to San Jose and beyond? Why can't we get to Colma and the rest much quicker? Why can't we go past Colma? So that's in the works. And we've got some federal funds still keeping BART running because COVID levels, of course, dropped a lot, and it's still not quite recovered. But can you blame them? COVID's still out here.
Yeah.
We soldier on. I think, honestly, and I know those of you who watch regularly know I've been on this tip for a long time. Why the hell are public service agencies supposed to be somehow making money? Even if break even is not necessarily a great thing. We just need it to run well, be safe, and provide consistent services because we desperately need proper transportation services. So 50 full years, 20 years to happen. And now we've got a lot more time on our hands to create a better, faster public transit system that hopefully maybe we can stop increasing the price for every additional stop too, because I know it was made to compete with New York, but in New York I can pay one price in Queens and get off in the Bronx and just one price. I don't pay more just because I'm going a little bit farther than downtown Manhattan. and it's not quite the same, but I think it's still a good try. But that's just me. What do you guys say?
As a former San Francisco resident of almost a decade, I miss the transit system. I miss BART. It's certainly, as I mean, the ridiculous part is that BART doesn't wrap around the bay automatically. That BART doesn't go up into Marin, doesn't go to Sacramento. It should. And there's a number of reasons why it doesn't.
Well,
But-
you've got three. You've got just to go from, let's say, downtown San Francisco to Sacramento. You've got three different transit systems competing for that
Yeah.
same area. You've got Amtrak's Capital Corridor. You've got Greyhound, and you've got BART. And then on top of that, we do have things like. Ask me about public transportation. Why don't you? We've also got some of the specialty areas like the Tortoise bus, which for $15 you may or may not make it from Sacramento to the Bay Area. It can break down. Nobody can show up, but for $15, it's like rolling a dice. You buy a lottery ticket, you might win, you might not. It's the same principle, only it involves transportation, probably with your suitcase. You might get to San Francisco from Davis, or you might be stuck somewhere in Vallejo because it's started to smoke. But isn't that what life is about? Joyous surprises. But that's another competitor right there. There's a lot of competition on that corridor line. And of course, you got NIMBYism. There's a reason why you can't get good public transportation up into Marin, which sucks if you want to work for tech companies, because that means, of course, when I worked for EA doing game work, it was actually I had to take I lucked out and rode with a programmer from Alameda to over by EA Sports out in Marin, and we had to go down to San Francisco, up and around across, and then head up north into Marin. And I cannot think of anything more inefficient than that ride, but that's what we had to do.
Right.
But do wealthy people want easy transportation into their areas on the commoner's limousine? No,
Only for themselves.
just for themselves. But that's what happens. And I
There
guess we
you
have to get over the NIMBYism.
Well, thank you for that, Georgia. Happy birthday, Bart. It would be nice if we were celebrating 50th anniversaries of rapid transit systems in more than one city. I'd love to see lots of cities adopt something like that. Next story, we're going to go to Kacey Green, who has something to say about trucks, maybe.
Yes. So, is this the Canadians or is this the manufacturer?
Yes.
Okay. So
You have two links.
I do. Let's start with the Canadians, and
There we
a nice Canadian couple put down on a Ford F-150 Lightning, 2021, the last year's model, and they everything went smoothly except that they sold out. So they elected to, hey, keep us in line. Let's get the next one. And Ford has price protection in the U.S. For people who are in this exact same boat. However, it's only in the U.S. So when they went to go get their truck, the price had gone up by more than $10,700, and that's significant. So they elected to get their money back, and of course they were disappointed in this, as we should all be. And unlike where Rivian got lambasted for doing this and then correctly did the right thing, Ford did not. And so they resold the truck at the new price to somebody else. And while we're talking about Ford and dealerships and terrible experiences, Ford needs to cut $2,000 from the sales process of their vehicles to be competitive with Tesla. So they have decided they've given their dealers an ultimatum to say, hey, are you still going to sell electric cars, and are you going to do it our way? Or do you want to live in the dustbin? And so we'll see what happens, because the last time Ford told these dealers not to mess with stuff, we ended up with a couple Ford F-150 Lightnings for 3 times the price of what it should have been sold for with no haggle. And by that I mean the sticker price. I'm not saying any sort of deal, just literally, the car costs, say it's supposed to cost $50,000, it didn't. They were selling it for $150,000. Except it was worse because the truck was like 79, 80, something like that. And so we'll see what happens with that. And I think that that Paul has also got a Ford article right after me.
He does
Well,
indeed.
Yeah, so my story is kind of along the same line, but basically Ford corporate is getting tough, at least in the US. And they're saying if you want to play in the EV sandbox, you're going to have to buck up. You're going to have to put a DC fast charger in. They estimate the typical dealership's going to have to spend between $500,000 and $1.2 million to become sort of EV certified. And if you try to gouge the customer, they will pull your rights away, so you won't be able to sell EVs. Let's see if they can enforce that. In the past, they haven't been able to, but that would be great for the consumers if they can buy a car at sticker price and just pick it up at their local dealer. And I think Ford probably would like to do what Tesla's doing, just sell direct. But in the states where they can't do it, they need to have the dealer involved.
Yeah.
Even though the price is kind of set by Ford and non-negotiable.
Yeah. I mean, they need to look at it long term. Like, yeah, you can get a customer today, but if you rake them over the coals and they feel took advantage of, they're not coming back, even if they complete the first purchase. And a lot of these dealers don't have that slightly longer term view, not even long term, just like, hey, it's their next car, and that's not good.
And
Go ahead.
Yeah, and the same article mentioned that when Cadillac went to their dealer saying you're going to have to buck up to sell our EVs, it's apparently almost 30% of the dealers decided to give up their dealership than to buck up.
Or 100% of smart dealers in the U.S. and a smart car, not intelligent.
Right. Yeah,
because that was stupid.
And the problem with Cadillacs, they don't really have an EV today that you can buy or that you can.
The Lyric's almost here.
The Lyric is out.
Almost here, but
Almost.
Yeah.
Just my opinion on this. All of the machinations. Hey, no back talk from the baby. All the machinations about this dealer, like companies, OEMs dealing with their dealers, isn't going to mean jack shit until we see a court case.
Yeah,
and probably going to need to see several court cases, because this is probably going to be. It's probably going to have to be legislated a few times.
Right.
I still contend, my personal theory is that they're going to shove all these toxic assets into Ford Blue and then spin it off to die on its own. And then when anybody comes whining and complaining, they'll say, oh, that contract or that agreement, that problem you have is with Ford Blue. Go deal with them. Oh, wait, they're out of business? Sorry. And they're going to keep the direct sales, the fixed pricing, the EVs, and anything else they needed, like the actual factories. They're going to keep all that in Model E, and they're going to rename that to just plain Ford. And then Ford Blue will be gone. That's my personal theory and thoughts.
That's going to be a major issue for all these dealers out there. And like you said, Russell, it's going to result in a lot of litigation.
Yeah,
I
can sue Ford Blue.
I can see that the dealer associations do have power, and together they have even more power. There's going to be a fight, a dirty down and dirty fight, because it's going to be their livelihoods on the line.
Yep. And keep in mind, these people have had their business model enshrined into law.
Yep.
In states throughout the United States.
For 100 years.
Yeah, they've been protected in the way they make money. Is it surprising that they're going to dig in and try and hold on and keep doing this for another 10 years until they retire? Or, yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be an easy. I hope I'm wrong. I would love it if I was wrong. It's not going to be an easy fight. It's going to be ugly and litigious, and yeah. Well, but in the end, possibly the consumers will be able to deal with a little bit better processed when buying a vehicle. And that would be a nice thing. Let's go to our final story of the night. Georgia has a happy story because it's always a happy story at the end here at What Drives Us, I hope, about an e-bike.
We always have a happy
I don't know. I'm making
No,
that shit up.
we're trying. We're really trying.
Yeah,
Well, do
free
you think
e-bikes
you
for
can share
everybody.
the link, or do you want me to share?
I'm sorry.
I think it's pretty cute.
I will have it for you here in just one moment. Okay, and there, and there's a lot of clicking with this, you know.
It's a very click happy thing.
It's a very clicky thing. There you go. How's that?
That is a very super cool, brand new folding moped style electric bike. And what's super cool about it is, speaking of transit, for those of you who actually go down the peninsula on the San Francisco to San Jose side and take the big train, a lot of times I've seen people get on there with a folding bike because they get off the train and then they putt or bicycle to their company. But this is kind of cool for those of you who have to do it. Let's suppose you want to use your e-bike. But I can't carry my e-bike. Hold on. We've got the Wallke H6. It is smaller. It is lighter. But it is an e-bike that you can take with you in transit. But it's about 90 pounds, so granted. So maybe you better,
You're not
Get
going
to
to
buy it a ticket.
A little chunky.
buy a ticket. But it does get up to 32 miles per hour. So basically, if you took it somewhere in a car and you wanted to go further on in, maybe go up a bike trail, this is your kind of bike. 32 miles per hour might get pretty fast, and it holds a maximum load of 350 pounds. So yeah, you can eat carbs. And we've got the 48-volt battery. The range is not spectacular if you're used to a car, and I wouldn't push it because they say it's 170, but on the test he said it's more likely to be 45 to 100 miles, and you do not want to be trying to push a 90-pound bike up a trail.
I will also say that it's got a reasonable aspect ratio tire. Look at that.
That's right. It's a
got
very
some meat on those
reasonable
bones.
aspect ratio. But it's for those of you who want a folding bike. Maybe you want something for going around town, but you don't want to have it take up too much space because you're not getting a motorcycle, man. You just want a little electric bike, putter around town, maybe go to the market.
But making it folding's kind of dumb because the whole point of a folding bike is you can fold it and put it in the trunk of your car. No way you're going to put that in the trunk of a car.
What if we want to? Okay, fine. God, ruin it for everyone.
I mean, I get it though. Like for transit or something, there might be aspects, but yeah, it is. I have to say, a 90-pound folder. Ow, man, you got some upper body strength to be messing around with that.
Yeah, it's not trunk folding. It's not taking up two seats folding.
I mean, it's not. It's small, folded down.
Yeah, but then you still need to
But it's still 90 pounds.
It's still 90 pounds. Yeah.
I mean,
right.
And it's not exactly a luggable 90 pounds. It's a very awkward shape when it's folded down.
yes, but maybe it's a lovable 90 pounds, and that makes it lighter on your soul. So,
oh, Georgia, that was almost poetic.
It is, because we like our little weird.
That was nice. That was very nice. Well done.
Or at least those of us who can ride a bicycle like our little weird cute thing. It is kind of heavy. I mean, yeah, I can deadlift 90, but I don't want to do it all the time. What the hell?
I mean,
but I thought it was a pretty cute bike. And if you want something that doesn't take up a lot of space, it's a good option, especially if you are talking about places that have put a lot more effort into connected green belts and walkable cities. For walkable cities, it's an excellent transit option because Lord knows here in Davisville, it would be fantastic if some of you students would stop messing around with cars and just get on a freaking bike and not be on the road. Because Lord love us all, you have not discovered how to signal or look over your shoulder. So this is the vehicle for you.
And thus continues our tradition of every now and then just ending the show with an e-bike or a motorcycle, something cool, 2 wheels.
Two wheels.
Thank you, Georgia McKenzie, for that
You're
two-wheel
welcome.
update. Let's do some shout-outs and go home because we've done a full show.
Full
show. I mean, Mark did most of the work, and I just kind of, screwed up the presentation. But
yay, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Let's start with my friend Paul Guzik, who is just everything above the chin tonight.
Yes, I'll back up here.
No, you're fine.
Heidi ho, neighbor.
Dude, the show's over. Okay, who cares?
Shout out to Mark for going to Detroit on our behalf and checking out.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have been there. Looks like a lot of fun seeing all the cool new shiny toys.
Next year, Paul, be ready.
Yeah, maybe I'll head up there. And
that's the other thing is that the car show in Detroit is much nicer in September than it is in January. So it's a much nicer viewing in September.
Yes.
Much, yeah, absolutely. Well, I would love to do that. Yeah, we should plan like a What Drives Us field trip.
That'd be great.
Better than November and December.
Passes and like go to the schmoozes and.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Mark's, I guess it's a regular press day pass, right?
Yeah. There were smoozing events in the evening, definitely.
See, he got lots of USB flash drives shaped like cars. No, I don't know what.
Oh yeah, got to be a lot of swag.
Got one of them on the table right here, but I can't reach it.
Yeah. Casey Green, what's up with you, my friend?
So I got to actually, like I said, edit a video, and so now I gonna see if I can't do any more of them, but like maybe about on topic, and we'll see how that goes. But I'll catch you for sure Sunday at 1:10 Eastern at youtube.com/Kacey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. We're gonna talk about green living, talk about electric cars, talk about Tesla, talk about AI, talk about space, and then we're gonna just go home for the day. So nice, cool. Easy Sunday.
Yay!
Yeah.
It's the Sunday afternoon chat with Casey. Sign up at his channel and don't miss it, or I'll come and get you.
He might do it too.
I might, especially if you're in Escondido. Otherwise, probably not.
She's from Escondido.
Yeah, good old Escondido. That's my range, my territory, Escondido. So everybody else is safe. Mr. Coughlin.
Just shout out to everyone still watching the show. Please give us a thumbs up. Also, press that subscribe button if you haven't. Helps us out. Doesn't cost you anything, and you're supporting the show. And that's what we really like you to do. Thanks so much. You can follow us on all the social media. Just look up What Drives Us everywhere. We are there. Easy to find. Not hiding at all. Click on those subscribe buttons and join us throughout the week. Thank you.
Now I feel like I have to double check that just to make sure like there's not some weird porn link or something, like, oh no. But thank you, Mark. Georgia, it's up to you.
It's up to me. Bring it on home.
Bring it on home.
You've been here for about an hour. Go on ahead, hit like, hit subscribe. Remember, every like you do, even if you are already a subscriber, helps us out with the algorithm because it says, hey, I got some pretty good stuff going on down here, and maybe I should let people know it exists, which is awesome. And while you're at it, when you're done here, we got all of Kacey Green's library of DLCs that you can go and review, check out, hit like and subscribe over there because there's always new content and there's always things you can't figure out about your new techs that you bought for your car, especially when the tech is your car. And Lord knows something's going to change in a week. So go on ahead, hit like and subscribe over there. When you are done, I'm pretty sure Mark over at the Tesla Life is going to be talking even more about what he saw and dealt with at the Detroit Auto Show. Because let's be honest, what was that? Half an hour or so? That's just not enough. There's things to be discussed. So go on ahead, hit like and subscribe when you're at the Tesla Life and enjoy some content because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of new stuff coming out from him. Thank you for joining us here. If you are in Colorado, get Boulder hybrids. Because Paul's sitting there and he's going to tell you, you know what you got to do? You got to take care of your dang car. Just because it's an EV doesn't mean you don't have to do the maintenance, man. Electricity ain't everything. Put some oil on that thing. So,
Put some oil on that thing.
it needs lube. There's a
writing-
sentence you can use.
Everything needs lube.
There's a show title. Put some lube on it.
If you like it, then you should have put some lube on it. Now, thank you for hanging out with us. And I'm going to go back to you, Russell.
Thank you so much. Since coming up with an exciting show title right at the end. And did I see your baby flying, Kacey? Is that
It's a flying baby.
Yeah, she does that. She doesn't
does
like to
that.
sit. She likes to stand and swing and, fly.
She's an active girl.
There you
Eat.
go.
Eat some
Well,
more.
as usual, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Buy a song, buy an album, buy something for the love of all that is holy. Buy something. Did that seem like too much pressure? My apologies. Actually, for free, you can go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/whatdrivesus and you can subscribe there. Click the little bell for notifications so you know when we have new content up. I want to thank Mark Coughlin, especially for his repertorial duty. I screwed up metallurgy, I guess, so I'm going to repertorial journalistic endeavors, whatever it is. I want to thank Kacey Green, Paul Guzik, and Georgia McKenzie, as well as everybody in the chat room. Derek, David, JT, I saw 0101. June is in there. Derek, who else? Bruce. I mean, it's like a carnival of fun in the chat room tonight. Thank you, everybody in the chat room. As always, tune in next week and find out what drives us. That's the right song. Yeah. See you next week, everybody.
I'm going to blame it on the wiggly one moving my arm.